It is Monday, April 29 here at the West End Gun Club. It is the day after our match. We had our April 2024 match for the NRL22 yesterday, but I'm out here the day after to do a run through of the May 2024 NRL22 Course of Fire, which is the first match of the new 2025 season. They call it the 2025 season, which runs from May 2024 to April of 2025. And I usually come out on Wednesdays to do a run through. However, I have some work stuff that is taking place this week, which prevents me from taking the day off on Wednesday. So I am out here today to do this run through. So we're going to go ahead and just dive right into it. Just took a little bit of time this morning to get the barrel a little bit warm and fouled because generally speaking, my voodoos like to have at least a mag or two just run through the barrel to start off the day. And it's already putting one holders with Ely Match, which I'm going to run Ely Match today. And we'll do the run through with the Voodoo Gen 1.2, which is what I've been shooting recently, simply because I got this new MDT ACC chassis for it. And if you're unfamiliar with this chassis and when I acquired it, there's a couple videos in my recent range vlogs, as well as an overview of the MDT ACC Elite chassis. So go ahead and check those out, and I'll put a link to those in the video description. But just going to run the Gen 1.2 today because it's just been neglected ever since I got my Voodoo 360, which I've been shooting more often than not when it comes to picking between these two Voodoos. But there's nothing wrong with the Voodoo Gen 1/Gen 2. I think the 90-degree bolt throw isn't a big deal. I know a lot of people are adamant about the shorter bolt throw, like 60-degree. I don't think it really makes much of a difference, in all honesty. I like the feel of either one. I have no real preference. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started off with this run through of the May 2024 NRL22 Course of Fire. The first stage of the May 2024 NRL22 Course of Fire that we're going to run through is called May the 4th Be With You. 12-round stage, 2-minute part time. We have 2 banks of targets. We have a 1-inch on a single hanger at 44 yards, and then we have a 2-inch and a 3-inch on a double hanger at 88 yards. This is going to be a pyramid stage. There's no restrictions here. You're going to start standing, rifle, and all gear in hand, mag, and action open. On the start signal, you will engage the targets in the following order and manner with 1 shot each. Left, outside bottom rung, near, far, small, far, large. Right, outside second rung, far, large, far, small, near. Left, outside third rung, near, far, small, far, large. And right, outside fourth rung, far, large, far, small, far, near. So the rungs are numbered 1 to 5 or 1 to 4 going up, starting from the bottom. And then as far as your pattern, you're basically going to crisscross, starting from left to right, and work your way up. And then as far as the order or the cadence of the order, how you're going to shoot the targets, you're basically going to work your way out. So near to far, small to large. Then you work your way back, far to near, but large to small, and then near. So basically, you kind of just have to remember, hey, I'm going to work my way out, starting near, small, large. Then I'm going to work my way back, far, large to near. So that's basically the easiest way to remember it. Should be pretty straightforward, as long as you remember that, and then should be okay. But let's try this one out. Lost my target here. Where'd he go? So stupid. Oh, missed. 120.22. I finished right at time, so just barely got there. And I would just chalk that up to me just getting warmed up because this is the first stage we're running through. In any case, I did use 2 bags. I used my WeBab pump pillow for rear support and then a Coltac D bag on an Area 419 rail changer, just a gamer plate. This setup allowed me to get the rear support I needed. However, in the kneeling positions at the upward angle, it's kind of awkward. Kind of needed it, but didn't need it. On these kind of kneeling positions or the higher, because I can shoot prone from the bottom rung, but the second and third and fourth rungs, or second and third rung, you're going to be kneeling. Fourth rung, you're going to shoot standing. I took a poor position because I had all my crap there and I didn't want to kind of kick it over. In the normal match, I wouldn't have all that stuff there, but generally you just want to square up, sorry, to be, before anyone calls me out, I'm on the wrong side. But on the fourth rung, I was kind of had my feet, my left side back, kind of wanted to be squared off to the target and it would have been a little bit more stable for me, but I was able to make my hits there. And as far as that kneeling position here, on the second rung, with that upward angle, probably didn't need the bag. I don't think I used it. I have to look back at the footage, but I should have went with the kneeling. I think I went down like this and tried to put the bag here. I could have worked the kneeling here, but again, just the first run through, not sure exactly, you know, just going in blind, just shooting it as is, how you're going to fumble. So with an upward angle, you're going to probably be able to do a kind of a right knee up or support knee up. And then from this position, probably want to, if you're comfortable shooting 2 knees down, which I can usually do. Some people put the knee up, but then you'll need a pump pillow to fill in that dead space there for that third position here, if you could do it. I think we can do it here with the upward angle because you'll be upward like that. But other than that, I think this is a straightforward stage. I'm not going to say it's easy to clean because I just barely finished with time. So I just think just be quick and swift in getting your positions and a stable sight picture, and then take that shot and move. So that's all I can say. Let's go ahead and move on. Next stage we're running through is called Summer's Getaway. It's another 12-round stage. We have 2 banks of targets. We have a 2-inch on a single hanger at 75 yards, and we have a 2.5-inch and a 3-inch on a double hanger at 100 yards. The restriction here is following the competitor's first 6 shots, a magazine change must be completed before firing their 7th shot. Impacts made without a mag change will not be counted. So basically 6 rounds, mag change. You have to do a mag change 6 rounds. So you do need 2 magazines here for this stage. So we have a 5-gallon bucket and a 55-gallon barrel on its side. 2-minute part time, of course. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, engage each target with 2 shots in the following order and manner. 5-gallon bucket, near, far, small, far, large. 55-gallon barrel, far, large, far, small, near. You may secure this 55-gallon barrel with cinder blocks to prevent it from rolling forward. I put a cinder block here. We have these poles because just the way this range is built, they put these poles here for the silhouette shooters. Anyway, so the barrel's not going to move, so it does make it easier. However, people do, I put a cinder block behind this barrel right here to prevent it from rolling backwards, as in the picture. One trick is to use the barrel as your elevation adjustment. So like you tilt the barrel back and forth. I like to do that, so I don't know. That's not going to be available here because I put a cinder block there. Anyway, I digress. So basically it's just 2 shots on each target. So you're going to 2 shots near, 2 shots far small, 2 shots far large, mag change, switch, 2 shots far large, 2 shots far small, 2 shots near. Pretty straightforward. Again, near to far, small to large, and again, far to near, large to small. Like the first stage, just working your way up in size and distance, and you're working your way back in size and distance, decreasing. Straightforward. Just remember the cadence, and let's see how this one goes. Why am I getting feed jams? That's weird. $1:15 on the clock. This stage is relatively straightforward. Just to remind everybody who's not familiar with the West End Gun Club rimfire facility, we shoot at an upward angle. It's about 4 to 6 degrees, but we shoot in upward angled targets. This bucket stage, I highly recommend shooting prone. It's simply just getting into position here, getting your rifle on the bucket, and then you can angle it up, and you have plenty of, just use a decent sized bag and you can kind of stabilize right here. It's not that difficult to shoot upward angle. It's actually gonna be a lot easier than some places where you have to shoot level ground, but I don't know, it's subjective. However, the barrel spart, my concern here is the cinder block does get in the way. It's kind of annoying. What I anticipate some people will be doing is using the cinder block for support. What they'll be doing is putting the bag on the cinder block. It's kind of, I mean, there's nothing in the rule book says you can't do that, but I feel like people are just going to game it that way. If I see people doing that, I'm not going to say anything. It's just the way it is. Personally, I kind of want to remove the cinder block because I want to get tight up against the barrel myself, simply so I can get a good position and use this as a body fill bag, not putting my bag on top of the cinder block. That's just my opinion. I don't know what people think. If you feel like the cinder block is just unnecessary, you should just take it out. I feel like we should just take it out. Or if anything, if you need some kind of a chalk, like a wheel chalk or something, just put a 2x4 there. That'll be better because it won't get in the way of the shooter. But maybe that's their goal. Maybe they wanted to put a cinder block here so people would actually make use of the cinder block as part of the position without saying you can't, and seeing how many people adapt to it. But I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what people think about the cinder block on this part of the stage. Anyway, let's move on to the next stage in this Course of Fire. Next stage we're running through is called Laying in the Shade, 10-round stage. We have 3 banks of targets. We have the 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch KYL at 40 yards. We have the 3/4 inch and the 1 inch KYL at 65 yards. We have a 3 inch on a double hanger at 100 yards. No real restrictions here. This is a ladder stage, 2-minute part time. You're going to start standing, rifle, and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, you will engage the targets with 1 shot each in the following order and manner. Prone, first KYL, large to small. Prone, second KYL, large to small. Ladder, any rung, far target. Prone, first KYL, small to large. Prone, second KYL, small to large. Ladder, any rung, far target. Doesn't say you can't repeat a rung, so most people will probably shoot the bottom rung because it'll be the most stable because you're going to be in prone. So just remember, you're just going to shoot basically the KYL near to far, large to small, then far target. Then you're going to go back to prone, and you're going to shoot the KYL again, near to far but small to large, and then far target, any rung on the ladder. Pretty straightforward. Again, it's just remembering the cadence of the target engagements. I think I'm just going to, I'm probably going to just shoot off the bottom rung, but we'll see when the buzzer goes off. Let's try this out. Hit it prone. Actually, I'm not going prone. Probably easier if I just go this way. So we're doing small to large. That's right. Small to large. blade is sliding. $1:15 on the clock. Whew. This stage seems pretty straightforward, but there's a lot to consider here. One, you're going to shoot prone, right? And you're going to transition to the ladder. First off, position. When I got up, when I was in my prone, I got up, right? Because naturally your instinct is to get up to switch positions. Even if I was going to shoot prone for the next position, it's in a different location. However, I don't know if I should have just rolled over and threw the gun in, but for me, it was naturally easier to get into a kneeling position. Just get up, get in kneeling position, shoot out the third rung and shoot. However, the big problem here with this, though, is the bipod. So you're using a bipod in the prone position initially. And for us, we need a little bit longer legs to get that upward angle elevation there. But once you transition here, this can be problematic. I guess you can try to finagle your gun in, which probably I should have done, and I didn't think to do that. But I just put in my bipod. I just put the legs up. That probably cost me maybe 3 seconds of time. So should I have just knifed it through? I think I could have, but this leaves a lot of room for error there. And coming out, one thing that can happen with a SkyPod is you can do this, where you pull on the leg, and that will cost you time. So I'm not entirely sure what to do with that, what people will do in that regard, but I feel like putting over bipods might be the quicker way to go. If you want to finagle it through, go for it. I think that might be a way to go. I don't know, a lot to think about there. Then the other thing to consider is parallax and elevation dialing. So on the first iteration, when I had my parallax set, obviously you have to set your parallax for the 65, because if you set parallax for 40 and then move to 65 without adjusting parallax, it's just too blurry. So I adjusted parallax there. However, I decided to dial my 3/10 of a mil for my 50-yard zero for the 65-yard target. And then I held 1.3 off of that for my 100-yard, which is, it's a big target. It's easy hold. When I went back down, I didn't dial back down to 0 for the KYL back at 40, which I'm supposed to hold 0.1 under. So I think I held I tried to hold 0.4 under, and I was underneath the target. So I think the best way to go is probably not to dial at all, so you don't confuse yourself like I did. But or just keep dialing. But I mean, that's dial for 40, dial for 65 and hold over for 100, dial back down to 40, dial for 65 and hold over for 100. I don't know, if you feel comfortable with your holdovers on those small targets, go for it. I just elected to do a dial for 65, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I made that choice. But I feel like definitely dialing for parallax between 40 and 65 is a must. Dialing for parallax for 100, you don't need to. It's big enough, you don't need the dial parallax. And then come back down to 40, dial your parallax back. Anyway, a lot to consider here, a lot to think about from the position transitions, the bipod consideration on those position transitions, and what you're going to do for your dialing, holdovers, and parallax adjustments. Just keep in mind, I kept it on 12 magnification. I didn't adjust the magnification. I just kept it on 12. Let's go ahead and move on to the next stage in the Course of Fire. The next stage in the Course of Fire we're running through is called Cinco de Mayo. It's a 10-round stage, 2-minute part time. We only have one target. It's a 4-inch on a single hanger at 100 yards. This is a tank trap stage, and it's also the bonus stage. So if you finish with extra time on the clock, you get bonus points for every for every second remaining, you get a 1/10 of a bonus point. Start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, engage the target with 2 shots from each tip, the center, and then from one leg for a total of 5 different positions. The center tank trap tip will be facing back towards the competitors, which I have a center tank trap tip, so it's facing back. So 2 shots from each tip, the center, and then from one of the legs. When it means from one of the legs, you're gonna rest your rifle on one of the legs to shoot. And I think the restriction here is forward support may not touch the ground, and that includes your bipod bags. So basically, the front of the rifle needs to rest on the leg. You can still use rear support for the buttstock, but you have to support the rifle primarily with one of the legs. I'll go ahead and run through it, and we'll talk about the different techniques you can use. But this is pretty straightforward. And there is one thing here, is it doesn't say it has to be in this order, but I will follow the order anyway. It says 2 shots from each tip, center, and then from one leg for a total. So it sounds like that's the order because it says 2 shots from each tip, comma, center, comma, and then the leg. So I don't know if you want to take the literal grammar there, and then the leg means the leg's at the end, and therefore are we establishing order here? So I'm going to just say that we're shooting from each tip first, regardless of order on the tip, then the center after each tip, then the leg. Let's run through it. Right to left. .87, 89 seconds, or 88.9 if you round up. While this is a tank trap stage, which is pretty standard as far as NRL22, it incorporates one different aspect, and that is shooting off the leg. And so what I typically try to do is I will use my bipod to jam into the leg. That is the way I approach it. Then I put forward pressure into that bipod, and therefore I create that stable shot. And I use rear support to help with that, but sometimes rear support's not even necessary because of the amount of pressure you're putting into it, because you're leaning into the gun, you're leaning into the barricade, and it's pretty rock solid. You can see here, hopefully on camera, that I have my gun resting here. I'm basically bisecting my bipod, or the legs, splitting legs with this leg of the tank trap, and I can rest my gun in this manner. Sometimes even then I'm not touching the ground with the bipod, and I can even cant my rifle a little bit depending on how the legs move with cant, and it gets pretty rock solid, and I can able to twist my gun to get it in a position where I find it to be stable, and that's pretty rock solid, and that's how I shot that. Some people are going to try to rest the bag on this. That is fine. However, depending how steep that angle is on that tank trap leg, it might slip off, and you can try to put forward pressure against the bag, but then you might slip even more depending on how much friction there is. So that's why I prefer to use the bipod. I feel like using the bipod in this manner is the best way, at least for me, to shoot off a leg such as this. There's other ways you can do it with a barricade stop or whatnot and just jam into the barricade, but this is my approach to it. Again, this is not the way, but there's tons of other ways to do what we're trying to accomplish here as far as a stable position. You don't need a SkyPod to do this. You can do this with any other bipod. A Harris bipod will do this just fine. It'll work the same way. But see if you like that. As far as the bag that I used this Coltac. I acquired this recently. I can't remember what they call this, the tricorn, I think, or something. But I just like it because it actually fits on top of a tank trap tip a little bit better, and it's more stable. So adjust my camera here. Sorry, guys. Quasi. See if I can refocus on that, maybe. But yeah, you can see there, it's basically, it's backlit. Sorry, guys. But essentially, this is going to rest on the tank trap tip a lot better. And I just like it. And I can move it each way. It's a little bit more stable. And I can jam my gun into that. But I like this one for tank traps. I've That's why I picked one up. So anyway, that's it for this stage. So let's move on to the next one. The last stage in this course of fire we're running through is called setting on the roof. 10-round stage, 2-minute part time. We have 4 banks of targets. We have a 1 inch on a single hanger at 40 yards. We have a 1.5 inch on a double hanger at 55 yards. We have a 1.5 on a double hanger at 60 yards. And then we have a 1.5 and a 2 inch on a double hanger at 89 yards. No elevation dialing is allowed once time begins. Only parallax and magnification may be adjusted. And then the rooftop peak is facing towards the competitor. So it's back this way. You're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, you'll engage targets from the peak of the rooftop with 1 shot each, far to near, large to small, then 1 shot each, near to far, small to large. Again, it seems like the theme of this entire match is just knowing the cadence of near to far or far to near, and then small to large, large to small. So just knowing that. So you're going to have to remember that. So the rooftop peak is facing towards the competitor, and the tripod may be used as rear support. So there is a tripod as part of this stage, which should be provided by the match directors. For those of you new to NRL22, they have started incorporating tripods as part of the course stages, individual stages in the course of fire. So you may think, oh, I'm going to bring my tripod and use it. You can't really do that. It's only going to be used for stages where the tripod is part of that stage. And to be fair, everyone should be using the same tripod. So the match director should be providing that. And that's what I do. I provide a tripod for everyone to use. I put it on that stage. So basically you're going to be shooting off the peak, and then this can be used as rear support. This is, this is not an abnormal stage. You're just using a different barricade to get you high off the ground. And then you're going to utilize the tripod as a rear support, just like you would if you were shooting off a ladder off the 4th or 5th rung and you're using the tripod. It's the same concept. Just they're just throwing this weird prop in here, this orientation of the rooftop to kind of make it just something unique, I guess. Anyway, let's go ahead and try this one out. Remember, far to near, large to small, then near to far, small to large. So basically, the easy way to remember that is far to near, working your way from big to small, and then near to far, getting larger. So that's kind of the easiest way to remember that. Anyway, let's try this one out. That's weird. Zero's off. 0.2. Should I just parallax? Nah. I probably should have. Okay, should have adjusted parallax. Okay. I barely nicked it, so it's left to right. Just parallax. Oh, wind left to right. Should just parallax here. small. Relax. Relax. Small to large. This tripod is not right there. Tripod's too small for this stage. This stage is relatively simple. I ran it twice, lost a round each time to wind, but it's pretty easy. You're working your way far to near, large to small. And so when you transition to near to far, you're basically shooting the near target twice. So you're staying on the same position. And so it's really quick. Like the first run, I had 90 seconds. I don't know how much time I had in the second run. However, my biggest struggle here was the tripod. This is my compact, my TVC 222i compact. My full size, I'm using it for my other camera. But basically, I was merely struggling because it's small. It's got a small base. It's a compact. So I'm kind of struggling to get a good position with the tripod, and I'm hitting it and gets there. So definitely we'll have to use the full size, especially because we're shooting upward angle. If we're shooting down, it's not too big of a deal, but when you're shooting upward angle, you kind of need a little bit of room underneath the tripod to move around your body. But for those of you who've never used the tripod before for rear support, definitely just go home or get on a sawhorse and just basically hold the gun against, create a V-notch with your hand, put it underneath the buttstock, and then use that to grasp the tripod and squeeze the tripod against the side of that buttstock. And it's going to be pretty, how should I say, pretty stable, as long as you're not hitting, because right now I'm hitting this other leg of the tripod. So I got 3 rounds left in this mag. I'll just dump them. But it's pretty easy. What's also going to cause problems for this stage, though, is that you will be moving from target to target. So depending on how your layout is, you're going to probably be bumping into the tripod trying to maneuver it. So it's going to be a practice of maneuvering the tripod as well across the ground, because then you have to reestablish a good tight hold on that tripod if you're using it for rear support. So that's going to be kind of the aspect of this, is people not familiar with the tripod may be struggling and unable to utilize it effectively, and therefore it may hurt them more than anything. So definitely try to practice it. That's all I can say. But this stage should be pretty easy. Take your time. You should have plenty of time to make shots. I adjusted parallax on the second run. I felt like I might have lost a round here on the first run because I didn't adjust for parallax, because I kept it on a far target. So I would say adjust parallax as you're allowed to. It's just so because we're going between 40 and 89 yards. So you won't lose a shot with a bad sight alignment, I would say. But that's all the advice I can give you. I just recommend using parallax. There's just plenty of time, and just practice with the tripod if you've never used one before for rear support. Oh yeah, one other item is I was looking at the Course of Fire or the stage description, and it didn't say anything about the tripod, whether or not it can be on the ground or just set next to the barricade. But I held it for the sake of holding it because it says all gear in hand. So I picked it up. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to issue clarification on whether or not you need to hold the tripod if you're going to utilize it for this stage. Because remember, you have to, all the gear that you can use for a stage, you have to hold it in your hand until the buzzer beeps and you can drop it. So I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't say whether or not the tripod can be. Sorry, I'm looking off camera because I put it up on the wall there. But I'm not entirely sure if you need to hold this, but maybe I'll ask for clarification from the match director forum. Anyway, that's it for the last stage. Let's go ahead and pack it all up and tear down stuff, and we can get out of here. I'm all packed up, about to get out of here, but we are done with the May 2024 NRL22 Course of Fire run-through. This match, or this Course of Fire, marks the beginning of the new NRL22 2025 season, which runs from May 2024 till April 2025, with the National Championships in May of 2025. But as far as this Course of Fire is concerned, I feel it is pretty good. It's not too easy, but it's not too difficult, or difficult at all. When I say it's not too easy, it's just, I mean that it's not so straightforward that there's no mistakes about it. You just read the paper, execute the shots, and everyone shoot cleans, right? There is some thought process involved, which I do appreciate, that you have to understand your stage and then know that you're shooting these targets in this order, and you have to do that in order to properly shoot that stage. I know some people complain that it does get confusing when they get crazy with the ordering, like, hey, you're going to shoot near, far, middle, near, and that type of thing. And I get that it is confusing, but I do appreciate that we are trying to make sure that people aren't complacent and just getting the position. All they're thinking about is a target, that position, and pulling a trigger. We have to think about what we're doing, and I appreciate that they're putting that into these stages in the Course of Fire. However, I do agree that we don't want to get too complex, but we do need to have some level of thought process involved in every stage. But I like this Course of Fire. I think it's pretty good, and it's a good way to kick off the new season. As far as our match here at the West End Gun Club, it will be the fourth Sunday in May, which is Memorial Day weekend, and I believe that is May 26th, Sunday. So Sunday, May 26th will be our match. I'll put a link to our website that I have that has an FAQ and then the link to practice score where you can sign up if you're interested in participating in our match. As far as my rig, shot the Voodoo Gen 1.2 today. Again, it's in the MDT ACC Elite. I just wanted to shoot this gun because I've been neglected. I've been using my Voodoo 360 of the two Voodoos. But now that I have a new chassis, which I've always wanted to try out the ACC, I want to get some time with this gun. I feel this is a great chassis for this specific barreled action. If you haven't seen my video overview of this chassis, check it out. I'll put a link to that video in the video description. But I do like this ACC Elite for a shorter barreled 22 action. I think it has a great balance to it, and it's really good. It's a really good chassis. Pricey, but really good. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and take care of the rest of my gear. I'm going to run an errand before I go home. Coincidentally, I'm picking up a new item for a project, which will make it into the vlogs, in the range vlogs, probably in the next few months. But I won't give too much away. So we'll just say I got to pick something up, spin on waiting period. If you understand what that means, California, then I'm probably picking up something pretty cool. In any case, that's it for today, April 29th, Monday, here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vlog.